So there's a small gland in your neck that you'll never realize it's there until something gets out of whack.
Well, last week I had the chance to talk with Dr. Ackerman about the thyroid gland and the number of things it controls in your body. You'll be amazed what this little gland can do, and if you have a problem, some of the things you should be on the lookout for. When our thyroid gland is working properly, we don't even notice it, but when it malfunctions, this small gland can have a huge impact. The doctor is in and will help us understand this very important part of our body. Dr. Scot Ackerman, one of the First Coast's leading oncologists, is joining us, as he does every Friday, to talk about important issues, and today obviously is no different. So let's talk about your thyroid. It's not one of those things that's like the forefront of conversation when you're out and about, but it's pretty important, and you don't notice it, like I just said, until something goes wrong.
You know, it may not be the forefront of your conversation, but believe me,
but you are an oncologist, so they'll need to
sometimes it's the forefront of my conversation. But so the thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland in the front of your neck. It's just below your Adam's apple, which is your larynx. And this gland produces hormones that control many of the body's functions. It controls our metabolism, our reproductive system, our brain, kidneys, the metabolism of our kidneys, the metabolism of our heart, and the hormone it produces is thyroid hormone, also known as thyroxine, and some other small hormones as well, but mainly the thyroid hormone is the main function of the thyroid gland.
So how do we know if we have a problem with your thyroid? What are some of the symptoms that people at home might be experiencing to think that they do have an issue?
Well, it's more common than you might think, these symptoms, but the symptoms and problems with the thyroid gland. But the problems with the thyroid gland are either for most people, it works normally, but some people have a thyroid gland that produces too much thyroid hormones called hyperthyroidism, too much thyroid hormone, and some people have a condition called hypothyroidism, where the thyroid gland is not producing enough thyroid hormone. So let's start with them one at a time. Hyperthyroidism, overproduction of thyroid hormone leads to weight loss, anxiety, sometimes you get a little tremor in the hand, restlessness, irritability.
Yeah, some of the things I experience every day. Yeah, I'm just thinking, you're listing these off, I'm like, irritability, check.
Well, the problem is that these symptoms aren't that specific for hyperthyroidism. Okay. We also have them just, the same things, weight loss, anxiety, restless, irritability, you have from drinking too much coffee, too much caffeine, you get those things also. Right, not enough sleep. Right. Also women going through menopause have irritability and restlessness, so they may think it's the thyroid. But these are common symptoms with hyper, too much weight loss, anxiety, restlessness, and irritability. And conversely, someone who's hypothyroid has has too little thyroid hormone. They have weight gain, they feel fatigued, sluggish, tired all the time, depressed, that sort of thing.
Wow, really polar opposites.
Yeah. But one thing they both have in common when there's when the thyroid hormone levels are out of whack is hair loss.
Oh.
You're sort of losing your hair a little bit. That's also a sign of abnormal thyroid hormone production.
So let me ask you this question then. How can you then tell the difference if it's menopause or if this is a thyroid disorder? Is there a test that can be done? Obviously, you go see your doctor. First step first.
Well, exactly. So as I mentioned, menopause and thyroid disorders, they have similar symptoms: mood swings, depression, sleep disturbances, fatigue. So if you're not of menopausal age, then it's more commonly thyroid disease. But either way, see your physician, because it's a simple blood test that can be done to determine whether the thyroid is overproducing or underproducing. And the simple blood test measures two things: the thyroid stimulating hormone. There's a hormone produced by the pituitary gland that tells your thyroid whether to produce thyroid hormone or not. And the other blood test that's with it at the same time that we do is a measure of the thyroid hormone levels circulating in your body. And so if these two are out of sync somehow, then that tells us whether you're hyper or hypothyroid.
Okay, and then if you determine that by taking this blood test, what are the treatment options? Are there treatment options?
So the treatment is dependent upon whether your thyroid is overproducing thyroid hormone or underproducing thyroid hormone. So underproducing, typically we treat those patients with supplemental synthetic thyroid hormone. That's pretty easy. But when the thyroid is overproducing thyroid hormone, then it's a little bit more challenging to treat. And we typically treat it either with some medication, it means long-term medications that suppress the function of the thyroid. Sometimes we remove the thyroid surgically. A surgeon goes in and removes it. Sometimes we give patients radioactive iodine. That's what I do. I see patients with thyroid glands that are overproductive, and I give them a very low dose of a radioisotope called iodine, a radioactive iodine. So we have in our diet iodine, iodized salt, and the iodine that we ingest every day goes, virtually all of it goes to the thyroid gland to be incorporated into the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormone. And so if you don't have enough iodine in your diet, then you won't have enough thyroid hormone production. And so so society has, the government has mandated that salt be iodized salt. You can get some non-iodized salt, but we have iodized salt in our diet so that we have enough iodine in our diet. So if you take that iodine and you make it radioactive, it's still all going to go to the thyroid gland, and even just a low dose of radioactive iodine in the thyroid gland will eradicate the thyroid gland and make it so an overproducing thyroid gland produces either a normal amount or it's underproducing. And if it's underproducing, that's okay. It's easy to treat that by giving thyroid hormone replacement.
All right, well, the bottom line is there's something can be done. If you have those symptoms, which seem sometimes innocuous or they might seem like they're just generic, I'm tired all the time, it's best to go talk to your doctor.
Yes.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Ackerman. As always, we appreciate you being here and for sponsoring this segment. And if you have any questions regarding today's topic, any other health questions that you might have, you can always connect with Dr. Ackerman on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/First Coast Oncology.